friends. Hello, lovebirds and folks. And yeah, thank you so much for letting me speaking to you. Thanks for giving me this stage. So I want to welcome all of you in this place. Welcome you at the TV screen at Ulm and Heidelberg and wherever you see us. Let me tell you something, you belong here. So, yeah, and the most important person after Jesus, Dan, Pastor Dan. Dan, we love you. Have a good time in London for your longer stay than you planned to be there. And we love you and thanks for this opportunities to speak here to your church. Yeah, my name is Toby. I'm a pastor, church planter from Braunschweig. Anybody knows Braunschweig here? No? German soccer champion 1967, so almost forgot. All right, yeah, you have to come. You're invited. Let me know. I treat you for coffee when you come. So, I'm pastor from Braunschweig Connect, and I wrote 2 books. Let me have a little advertising block here. So, first book is it's in German. It's a perfect way to become a better German native speaker. This is the journey towards life, and it's about movies and life and God. So you can buy it, and you also should buy the second book I wrote. It's Unconditional Loved, and it's another book about grace, heaven, hell, and a totally different God for most of you. So you can buy them. There, 1 book, €10, 2 books, 15. So help me not carry tons of these books back to Braunschweig. So buy one. And I know the author. He's pretty cool. He's a nice guy. And there's some truth in the book. All right. Dan told me that you are in a series called You've Got Talents. Who joined the series 1 or 2 times already? Yeah, great. So it's about Ephesians. It's a book in the New Testament, chapter 4. Yes, 4. And there are 5 kind of pattern, kind of operation areas or talents or gifts, some platforms where you can kind of jump in the ministry, serving God, serving people. So you are experts already about this 5-fold ministry thing. But let me tell you a secret. Some Christians kind of stop there in thinking too deep about what kind of ministry gift do I have, what kind of talent do I have, and we forgot the context. Let me tell you, the Bible is not originally written in like divided into different chapters and verses. It's just one letter with a red line, kind of. And so the main theme of Ephesians is that in the beginning, Paul, the great apostle, the follower of Jesus, this great church planter and pastor, he kind of tells the people how great God is. Kind of, God is awesome. And then he continues in this letter to tell Christians, Jesus followers, people like you and me, you are awesome because Christ is in you, and with him all the potentials, the power, the beauty, the glory, everything is in you. And he continues to say, this is awesome. And then he becomes practical, and we are in chapter 4, like in the middle of this practical part where he says, what does it mean for us? And so nobody, if you read this letter, would assume that Paul finishes with saying, just sit there on your seat. Just listen to a good sermon. Just go to church and, be passive. He kind of makes a point that if you are in awe of someone or something, naturally you have to pour it out. You have to give yourself in this journey, right? So, and sometimes if we are too much in theology, we kind of stop there, thinking out what gift I have, what talent I might have, and we pray and we study and we kind of stop there. So my topic today, very simple and practical, is start. Let me think, what was the topic? Get started, sorry. Get started. It will be very simple. It will be very practical, but let me tell you, the simple and practical messages are mostly the deepest ones. So get ready to get your life changed today. So get started. Before I give you 3 simple steps of how you can get started doing something big with your life, let me be fair to you. It's very unpolite to tell you how to get started and not to think with you what you are aiming for, what your goal should be, right? So I don't know if you ever asked yourself the question of what is your 2, 3, 4 main goal for your life? Let me help you out here. Let's close your eyes for a moment and think about a scenery, like you are going to a funeral. You're going there, you come in, there's a stiffy atmosphere, there's this melancholy melodies and music, and you are going there, you are taking a back seat, sitting down, and then suddenly you realize it's your funeral. So you figure out it's a dream, and in this dream you are part of your own funeral. And in a minute, the pastor comes to the pulpit and he will share the most important things about your life, what you have been known for, what your passion was, your aim was, your goal was. Let me ask you this question this moment. What would you have the pastor telling about your life, your legacy? You have it? Put it on paper, put it in your mobile, post it on Facebook, do something with it, but don't let it go, because it's very important before we talk about how to get started to think what God might put into your life to aim for, what your 2, 3, 4 main goals should be, right? So, we will get motivated from a very, very popular person out of the Bible. His name is Moses. Have you ever heard of Moses? Moses, the guy who divided the tomato soup. No, sorry, the Red Sea. Moses, the man who received the 10 commandments of God. Moses, the big, heroic figure in the Bible. This great guy. And we have kind of a hall of fame in the Bible, like a part of a book where God talks about this ordinary people he used for extraordinary things. So in this hall of fame, there are like people like you and me, people with failures, people with doubts, people with, sins in their life, people who did incredible bad things sometimes, but they had been ready to be used from God for extraordinary things, for things God put in their life to accomplish. And in this letter, Hebrew, chapter 11, the verses 24 to 26, we find this verse. This is the legacy, the final words, the funeral speech about Moses. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refuses to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as a greater value than the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking ahead to his reward. This is how Moses' life ended, but let's look at the thing, how it began, what steps he has to move to get started. And before you take a nap, before you are somewhere, let me give you the summary of the whole sermon, okay? Put it down. You never finish things you didn't start. You will never finish things in your life that you don't have started. So how can we get started? How can we accomplish the things God put in our lives? Before we talk about these 3 simple steps, let us, for a while, because we talk about Moses, look at how Moses began his life. So he was a slave, Hebrew slave in Egypt. He was rescued, miraculously rescued, became adopted by Pharaoh's daughter. He grew up. He killed somebody. He became a murderer. Then he fled to Egypt. He fled from Egypt to the desert, the wilderness, and he became for 40 years a shepherd. For 40 years he was there with the stinking, sniffing, bleeding sheep around him. And it seems to me that sometimes in our journey to accomplish what God put in us, we need, and we have, and I pray it's not that it shouldn't be 40 years, we have times, periods where we think this God is not where I'm made for. In the desert with sheep, 40 years, my God. But that's just a side note. So he was there, and then he had this burning bush experience. Maybe you have heard about the story. He was there, and he had seen something very, very ordinary in a very hot desert, a bush that is burning. And in the ordinary thing, again, God did something extraordinary. He spoke to Moses, and he said to him, "This is what I want to do with you. Get started. Because you will never finish if you don't start." The answer of Moses was a very holy answer. He said, let me think about this, God, for a minute. No. It's so similar to us, right? So, and then we can see in Moses' biography, and we will look at this in a minute, we will see 3 simple steps that we can adapt to get started what God called us to be, right? Are you ready? Fasten your seatbelts. So, before we start and give this enthusiastic talk, and your response should be enthusiastic too, let me, you internationals, you make it maybe most probably better than the German folks. We have like 3 steps of how Germans should show when they're happy, right? So, 3 steps, and you should use these steps. Like whenever you accomplish one of these steps, you give one reaction of happiness, right? First reaction is you make the yes fist. Yes, I did it. I started. If you go to the next level, we have the holy jump. You lift your hands. Yeah, awesome. Or like we Germans say, geil. Right? And third level is we do the holy dance, you know. God, thank you. This is so... All right, you have it? Let's practice this for a while. Let's do the yes fist. Yes. Let's do the holy jump. Awesome, geil. And let's do the holy glory dance. Yeah, Lord, thank you so much. I'm not worthy, you did it. Yeah. You have it? Okay, very important. Because we need, in this journey, which is not always so easy like it sounds, we need encouragement, and we need times where we encourage ourselves. We celebrate our victories, and we celebrate the victories and the successes of our brothers and sisters, our friends. All right? First, very easy step. First step is start where you are. We find it with Moses that he started where he was, and we find it in Exodus chapter 3, verses 11 to 12. And here we found the following words. But Moses said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Who am I?" And God said, I will be with you. And this will be the sign to you that is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. So, the first thing is that God gave the simple message to Moses. You go to the Pharaoh and you say him my words. And my words are, Dear Pharaoh, sir, I don't ask you, I command you to let my people go. Okay, if we read this verse, we kind of center around this. And maybe the song that centers around this verse. Let's sing it together. When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oh yeah, you have it. Oppressed so hard that I could not stand. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. Yes, great choir. This was the message. And kind of, if we read this verse, we center around this message. But that's not the most powerful part of this verse. Do you know what I think, what the center should be? It's that God said, I will be with you. I will be with you because it doesn't matter where you are as long as you know who you're with. Write this down. Remember this. It doesn't matter where you are as long as you know who you're with. So get started. You will never finish something that you never started. Let me tell you a story. I studied theology in Bonn. I lived in Köln, and there's a district, Köln-Mülheim. This is like very Turkish community district, and I was living in a flat with a friend, an American Irish football professional, and his name was Brian. And Brian was like a football player, like a defense player. Like he was, pumped up. He was big. He was strong, but he had a small car, a red Ford, and so we drove through Mülheim, Köln-Mülheim, and accidentally, actually, we cut a car off, and this car stopped us, and out of this car came like 4 Turkish guys straight towards to us, and because we are in this community, some other Turkish guys came and surrounded them, and they came and they were pretty rude, and I thought like, oh my goodness, we dishonored them. Maybe it will be like of a killing scene, and today and tomorrow in the newspapers there's like this article, like a future pastor was involved in a street fight, and he even killed some Turkish guys, and he will be arrested. And I thought, oh my goodness, God, my career is finished before it even began, and so had me. And I forgot something very important. I forgot who's next to me. Brian. So when this crowd came to us to, start a fight, Brian moved out of this tiny little red Ford car, and he was there. He was like big. He went straight to the leader, and there was kind of a word-to-word fight. Like Brian said, like, don't come too close or I kill you. And this guy repeated something like, don't come too close, I kill you. And this was like a back and forth word battle. And in the end, I was kind of just watching this. In the end, this leader of this Turkish group came to me and he said, this guy is crazy. We leave. So they left and we left. And I thought like, wow, this was cool. I can tell this in a sermon. This is a cool story. And it's kind of the implication of, I forgot that in this battle, in the scenery where I was thought of, how can I manage this, that I shouldn't have solved this problem because Brian was there. He was the perfect guy next to me. So It's not important where you are as long as you know who you're with, and the same is true with God. It's not important where you are, where you start, but get started because God is with you. And maybe today, figuring out your life goals, you think, I'm not worthy, I'm not educated enough, I'm not holy enough, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too whatever. Let me cut this off out of your life. When God says, I'm with you, to Moses, this is exactly what he is saying to you and to me. I'm with you. I was with you. I will be with you. I am with you. And this is what matters. Right where you are. Get started. Don't hesitate. So whenever you get started to aim, to achieve your aim, what do as a Germanized international? You give a yes fist, okay? Let's do it. Yes! So, don't forget it. Yes, Lord. So, first, to get started is start where you are. Don't wait to become a better, more qualified, smarter, older, wiser, whatever person. Start where you are. It's always the same with God. He takes you from one level to the next level to the next level. It's all about obedience and not about perfection. And let me give you a little secret. On every level, a different devil. So have fun. So get started. Second, use what you have. Use what you have. Moses, in Exodus 4, 1-2, Moses answered, what if, do you know those what ifs in our life? What if they do not believe me or listen to me or say, the Lord did not appear to you? Then the Lord said to him, what is in your hand? A staff, he replied, a rod. Before I left Braunschweig, yesterday I was in the city of Braunschweig and there was a spectacle. I don't know, I asked a friend, what's going on here? And she said, oh, you don't know? Today Menderes is in Braunschweig. Menderes? Who's Menderes? So I remembered long ago, there was, I don't know if you know, DSDS, like Star Search in German. And 10 years ago or so, there was a guy who couldn't sing at all. Menderes. And he was there, and he gave his best. And Dieter Bohlen, one of this guy, and the jury, he always said, no. If a plane crashes, it sounds more accurate than your singing. Go, no recall. But every year, every new series, Menderes was there, and he was performing again. He was, throw out again. He was coming next year. He was coming year after year, and 10 years later, like today, he's in my city on the big marketplace singing, okay, honestly, in front of strange people, but he's singing and he has an audience, like hundreds of people. So when there's something good we can see of Menderes, it's like he did it. He used what he have. He got started, he used what he have, and even it's little, he grew it year after year, experience after experience. So do me a favor, take it in your life. Use what you have. God made it very, very clear here. He asked this question, what do you have, Moses? And if you go through the Bible, Jesus even did it. He always asked the people, what do you have? Fishes and bread. Yeah, what do you have? And Moses' answer was, I have a rod. And a rod is something, it is very, very, very typical for a shepherd. The same would be like, what do you have? A mobile. Oh, it's very, very typical if you have a mobile. So it is something that was, given naturally to a shepherd. So God will not expect from you something that you don't have right now. And so maybe your thought is, what do I have? What can I do? I'm only good with kids. Fantastic. God is saying, fantastic. There's a good church, ICF-Stuttgart. They have a great kids ministry. You better go there. What can I do? I'm just good at cooking. Fantastic. There's Pastor Toby, Pastor Dan, so many people. Just cook your best and invite people and share love and good food. That's so awesome. Oh God, I'm just a worker. Oh God, I'm just a father. I'm just a mother. I just have money. You know, God's answer is, that's perfect. We use it for our glory. We always take what you have to go to the next level and the next. And so let me encourage you for the second step, just to start with what you have in your hand right now. And even if it's little, the Bible promises us, if you are faithful with the little you have, God will give you more and more. Level for level, level for level. So what did you learn about the second achievement when we have success in our lives or see a success in someone's life? What we do, the holy jump. So let's do it. Yes! Do it. I want to see it in the future. I did it, God. Yes, I use what I have. Again. So, you start where you are. You use what you have. You do the holy fist. You give the awesome jump. And then the third very, very practical step is after you started where you are, after you used what you have, you do what you can. When you do what you can, God does what just He can do. So with Moses, it's very, very cool. We see it in Exodus 4:10-12. We find the following words, and just go with me and just see what is written here. Moses said to the Lord, "Pardon, you servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I'm slow of speech and tongue." And the Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouth? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go. I will help you speak and teach you what to say." So, like in our lives, when God calls us, when we go the first steps, we are so close again and again to kind of step back, maybe because of a situation, some people in church who kind of speak lies in our lives or hurt us or something, and our natural response is sometimes, who am I, God? I'm not the right person. Let's Pastor Dan do it. Let's the staff of ICF-Stuttgart do it. Let this guy do it, or that woman, my brother, my sister, my grandma, my grandpa. Let somebody do it, but no, not me, God, not me, God. It's so typical, and I think in a very, very charming way, but strict way, we have to understand what we just read, that God said, you go now. You better start now, because if you don't start, you will never finish this. And it reminded me of a situation parents understand pretty good, because if you want to bring your little child to bed, what happens? Your child can be tired to death, and then these arguments come. Mom, Dad, I'm not tired. Mom, Dad, my pillow is itching. Can you scratch my back? Can I take the fire truck in my bed? I'm thirsty. Maybe there's a monster under my bed. Mom, Dad, I'm not tired. I just drank a espresso shot. And what's our answer as parents? You better go to bed now. You sleep now. And this is the same tune God uses in this moment to Moses. He said, you go now, stop. And as Christians, we have so many arguments to not get going. And let me tell you, as a pastor of many years, let me tell you my favorite argument not to get going. The holiest argument. And it's, God, I need to pray a little bit more about it. That's the joker, I just need to pray. And I think in this moment, there's kind of a laughter in heaven. He needs to pray. Why? It's so clear. You get started where you are. You use what you have. You do what you can. It's so easy. And there's a situation, the kind of the person after, the leader after Moses, Joshua, in one moment when he kind of took the rod of Moses and he kind of accomplished what Moses couldn't 100% finish, then he was praying, he was there and kind of begging God. And in this moment, God said to Joshua, stop praying. Get on your feet and get going. Move your ass. Put yourself in the game. Make your feet wet. Do it. And I think God is a God who loves prayer. He's a God who loves seeking out for wisdom, us seeking out for wisdom. But he's a God at a moment, like a parent. He said, get going, my friends. Stop praying. Stop waiting for an pinky angel who come, for a donkey who starts speaking. Stop waiting and go and get yourself in this game. Because if you know who God is, and this is so awesome to understand him, if you know who you are, because God is in you and his glory and his power and his love and everything, then there's no reason not to start. So let me close with a little thought, a very deep thought, I think, in this moment of Moses, the burning bush experience, he had a conversation with God. I think they talked about women in soccer, but we don't know exactly. And in this moment where they had a conversation and God wanted to leave Moses, then Moses asked God this very, very smart question. He said, God, what's your name? If I tell the Israelites, the God who said, I am who I am sent me, that's kind of, I need a name. Give me a name, God. And God gave him a name for the first time. His name is, it's very interesting. It's a name without vocals. It's just Y, H, double Y, H. And theologians discuss of how to pronounce it, and finally they said, we don't know. But if you take this word, this name, how God introduced himself to Moses and Moses to the people of Israel, it sounds exactly like breathing in and breathing out. Let's try it. You want to join me? Yes. It's like, it's a name every one of us speaks at least, in average, 24,000 times a day. And it doesn't matter if you're an atheist, if you're still checking out this God thing, the Christians, the ICF or whatever, or if you have been a Christian your life long. And every one of us speaks out the name of God thousands and thousands of times a year and a day. And God is giving us this message. Hey, if you feel me, if you believe in me, if you trust me at this moment, I'm as close to you as you're breathing in and you're breathing out. I was there, I will be there, I am there. This helps me a lot, going the 3 steps. I was a very shy person in the beginning, like 16, 17 years old, and God told me, hey, you will be a messenger of me. And I thought like, oh God, I can speak, and this is the truth, I can speak in front of 2 or 3 people. That's all. And he said, get started, I'm with you. I'm as close as you're breathing in and breathing out. And I started speaking in front of 2 or 3 people, 10 people, 15 people. And today, I don't care if there are 2 or 3 people in front of me or 2 or 3,000 people in front of me. I don't care because I know God is with me. He's there. And with him all the power and beauty and glory and potential and everything. So I today asked you to get started. And maybe you think, I cannot do everything on a day. That's right. That's why God pretended to use 6 or 7 days to create this earth. He could have made it in a second. The last day, he rested. And Mother Teresa said, if you can feed 100 people right away, start with feeding 1. So get started. Use what you have and do what you can. So let's pray. And Jesus, I thank you so much for this atmosphere of love and your presence, that you are here. And today, I ask you to kind of give every one of us one thing, just one thing, to grab it, to take it in our daily lives, in our tomorrow and the week, and to bring it in our lives, one step, to get started, to use what we have, to do what we can, to come close, to be the person you created us to be, to make a difference in this world for your glory and for your name and for the people who are deeply looking and searching for the things you and only you can offer.